So, you've probably been hearing a buzz around this new free tool. This is Trae AI. So, I was on a live the other day and I demonstrated using it. I opened up a project and I did share some concerns because it's free for now. But I think before I go on and just talk a bit about it, I want to point to something that, again, I raised concerns about in my live, which is so many of these tools are popping up, and especially these free tools, we definitely need to proceed with caution. Be mindful of anything that you install on your computer, because it seems like a great opportunity with all these agents and LLMs and open source, this and that. It seems like a great opportunity for some bad actors to come in and do some horrible things. So just be mindful, do some research. I was actually quite surprised by what I learned about Trae AI, just the company behind it and whatnot. This IDE is free for now, but it was launched by a company called ByteDance, and ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok. So they launched it in January 2025. It's very, very new. It seems like it's just popped on the scene, as they all do. And it's made its introduction very easy to pick up on because it's built on VS Code, just like Windsurf and Cursor and all the other tools that we've been using. Except for Bolt.new, Lovable, those web IDs, completely different. But the desktop ones are all certainly familiar interfaces because they are forks of VS Code or built on the foundation of VS Code. And it integrates AI capabilities, again, just as Windsurf and Cursor do. So it aims to compete with those established tools. So GitHub Copilot is included in this, Replit also, and any other desktop IDE that is in existence, that uses AI and that does what we need it to do. So ByteDance, again, the parent company, they wanted to push into the AI tech sector and leverage LLMs just like everybody else. But instead of targeting consumers, they've decided to target developers in effort to diversify beyond social media, especially amid the ongoing scrutiny of TikTok operations, particularly in the US, because it's led to some legislations and changes and a lot of concern, which I don't know enough about to speak on, if I'm honest. But this should give you a bit more insight into or about the company. And as I mentioned, as of today, currently, Trae is offered as a free tool. It's free to use, it's free to build and test. They do say that the information is going to be used for their training. So again, go and look into that. Whatever you're giving it, just like the concerns they had with DeepSeek, they have access to our data. So that's up to you how you feel about that and what kind of data you give them. You've got access to your desktop, And as of today, it's free, and we don't know how long it's going to be free, if it's going to be free forever, or if they're going to introduce a paid model in future. But I have a strong feeling that it's going to be paid. There's going to be a free tier and then a paid tier. It's really hard to run these types of companies at a loss, which is what they would be doing, especially if we're just generating thousands and hundreds of thousands of lines of code. And Windsurf done exactly the same thing, and nobody seemed to be complaining when Windsurf came out and did the same thing. So it was a free tool, we used it, and then it became a paid tool, and everybody was still happy because it was a great tool. So I'm testing it at the moment because it's free. So there are projects that I've started in Klein with OpenRouter and quickly hit credit limit. So add $20, spent it all, add $20, spent it all, and decided, let me just open it up in Klein. Let me just open it up in Trae, which is what I'm doing. And in this video, I'm just going to be using Trae. So if that's what you want to see, if you want to see the IDE, how I use it and what I'm doing, then keep on watching. So I'm using Trae to create a plugin at the moment. So I made my pin generator plugin. And again, this is exactly the same as Windsurf with regards to what you can build. It's missing some features, but to be honest, it's quite a robust tool because you can add images. You've got Claude 3.5. It's the only model they've got at the moment. You've got the chat or build mode, and then you've got context where you just tag the information. So we're quite used to doing this in Windsurf, and there are a few things it doesn't have, like memories. Windsurf memories is one of the biggest USPs for me. I'm not sure if Cursor have that. It's completely separate from the rules directory, so different rules files that you can have. Memories is something that Windsurf have added, which allow you to correct and steer it in the right direction for that unique project. So if it does something wrong, you can tell it, I don't like what you did. Please never do that again. Make a memory so you know not to do this again. Likewise, if it does something good, you can tell it, this was great. You fixed this. Make a memory of this exact thing that you came up with. So the logic behind how you fixed it. And that has been a game changer for me in everything that I'm building because it's so common. Even with rules files, you might still find that it's going back, it's defaulting to things that it shouldn't be doing. And then it just apologizes and it gets really annoying. So as your project gets bigger, creating memories as you go is going to completely change your workflow. And you can actually go and see this. I need to do an update on Windsurf because they've got quite a few different things going on now. They've got Wave 3, which I've not touched on at all. And I need to dive in. My credits have renewed and I need to be back on my Windsurf project. I think I've got too much going on at the moment now with all of these tools, but it's all been a fun learning curve for me. So I'm not too mad about that. But with regards to memories, if you go over to settings and you go to cascade generated memories, I see it's completely separate from global AI rules and workspace rules. You go to manage, you can see all the memories that you've added. You can see exactly what you've told it. So I've got the business. These are things I've added with regards to Supabase. So I've said images are stored in this place and this table. These are the fields because I found that it was tripping over its data and I was having to tell it connect to Postgres. Look at the actual tables because it's creating tables out of thin air. So this goes beyond the scope of what you already know. It's figured something out, it's fixed something, or it's broken something, and you've told it, you know, that exact thing you just did, never do that again. Or the thing you just did breaks this, so do this instead. And then it looks at its own process and then adds that as a memory. And let's say, for instance, you update the directory and you don't want to use business images anymore or something's changed. You just go into memories and you delete the memory. So this is a very intuitive feature they've added, and it's one of the most impressive things I've found about using Windsurf, and I've still not seen that in any other desktop IDE as yet. So that's my take. Somehow I managed to make this all about Windsurf. But yeah, so back on Trae, I'm making a plugin. What I was saying was that you can do everything that you can do in Windsurf, but the features are somewhat limited. It's still brand new, came out in January, but the features are limited compared to, you know, when it gets to your file being massive. This is a small plugin. I made a basic tool, micro SAS tool, generators, things like that. Perfect. Within the first 5 or so prompts, you've got the complete thing. But then when your project grows and it's more complex and you've got a number of different files, it starts to have challenges because it doesn't have those features in place, like memories, to guide it. So you can create rules, you can tell it to look at the rules, you can tag context, but there are some limitations when it comes to bigger bodies of code and files and whatnot. So that is something to consider. But again, this is a free tool right now. It's free right now. So this is an opportunity for me really to test different features because I'm now comfortable with these tools. Once you've used one, you've used them all, and I'm now comfortable with it. I can start to test more things without having to worry about burning loads of credits. So again, can't see it being free forever. I do know that startups are given credits by OpenAI, by Anthropic and things like that to grow and test and whatnot. So I definitely can't see it being free forever.